Hello. Super nice dirty dishes, homie. Hello, homies. Hello, fellow homies and homettes. Konnichiwa. Kobayashi Kentaro. Yokoso. Thank you for the super neat upgrade, Luis Castro. Hello, hello, neat from Japan. Good morning, Arisa-chan. It's 10 a.m. in Japan. 10 a.m. 朝ごはんも食ったの? Bro, clean your dishes. I'm tired of cleaning them. Hello from Fukuoka. ああ、実際私は福岡に1回行ったことがあります。1回行ったことがあります。Did you actually end up cleaning up all your dishes? I cleaned up most of them. I didn't clean up all of them. 名前呼んでくれてありがとう。いやいやいや。なんでもないよ。悪い人。Your Japanese sounds so natural. How did you learn it? It's just a lot of studying. 日本語上手くて草。Those dishes were paid actors. Those dishes in the sink are the NEET code. How long have you been a NEET, Elisa? I don't know, technically my whole life. I've never actually been like formally employed before. I was like a contractor for a bit. So, I don't know. I've never had like an actual like being an actual employee. I'm also a high school dropout, so I'm not even educated. Thank you for the 5 Canadian dollars, Matthew Pickard. Ayo, I start my new job as a cook in ski resort tomorrow. I'm super duper nervous. I'm sure I'll crush it. Keep up the neat content. Do your best at the job. Ganbatte ne. I'm sure you'll be a great cook. 朝ごはんは食べましたか? It's evening right now. It's not 朝ではないんだけど朝ではないんだけど、晩ご飯晩ご飯にはまだ食ってない。Wait, so you probably had to pay tax for the first time? Yeah, I'm not used to paying tax. I don't really know how to do the tax things, so I'm trying to figure it out. Will there be any game stream or only chatting? I might play some games on my CRT TV right over here. Just like a hangout session. I don't know. I want to take it a little bit more easy. tax fraud time. Konbanwa. What console do you have hooked up to your CRT? I have a PS3. It's my aunt had like a PS3 she had in her room that she just didn't use. So I just kind of stole it from her bedroom. Like, cause she doesn't live there anymore. She has like her own house. My aunt like has her own house and kids and stuff, so she doesn't use the PS3. So I just kind of stole it from her bedroom and my grandparents' house, and now I have it here, and I use it to play some PS3 games, some weeb PS3 games. If you know this game, my cousin really likes this game, the Valkyria Chronicles. Shenjo no Valkyria. My cousin's really into Valkyria Chronicles. But I found that at like a used game store in like a flea market here. And so I saw that, I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll buy that. Manga wa nani ga suki? Chainsaw Man. I like Chainsaw Man. I have Chainsaw Man up to how much? I have it till 13, I think. Like, I just have so many manga. I have a lot of manga I haven't read yet. Oh, I also like Tokyo Revengers. Revengers is really good. I read just the first one, but when I'm in Japan next time, I'll definitely pick up the next ones. Look, I'm up to number 12 in Chainsaw Man. Tokyo Revengers is also very good. Who does your hair? Nobody. I don't do anything to my hair. My hair is just naturally as it is. I don't even use shampoo. I just put water in my hair and I clean it like that. And it's just straight. My hair is just straight black. Straight and black. It's like slightly brown, depending on where like the lighting. Like if you shine light on it, you can see a little bit of brown. But normally it just looks black. Too bad Tokyo Revengers falls off early on. Really? Cool Benny is lol. A lot of people compare me to Asa Mitaka in Chainsaw Man because she's kind of autistic like me. And honestly, I do relate to her a lot. She's just really unlucky, but she's kind of autistic, kind of weird, pretty. And she's like, doesn't know why everybody just hates her for some reason. It's like, oh my god, it's literally me for real, for real. Thank you for the $5 lost, Zephyr. I'm buying the Japanese background Colosso course to try to improve my backgrounds. I love anime backgrounds. I think they're underappreciated. For sure, I think like people don't notice them as much, but they definitely can sell a scene. I don't think about them as much personally either, but it's like, yeah, people are just like, I look like Asa. I mean, I guess if I put my hair back. I'm literally Asa and Yoru. Like, literally me for real, for real. My bangs are longer, but if I cut my bangs a little bit, it's literally, yeah, literally her. I just need to clip them a bit. Then literally asa. The face when you read a manga and the protagonist is literally you. Where did Lisa go? Oh, she does Asami Taka. Nitteru. Well, she's literally me. You should cut your bangs. It would be so cute. I do need to cut them. Maybe when I go to Japan again, I'm going to cut them. There we go. I'm just kind of lazy. Ima 何歳ですか?それは礼儀ではないよ。失礼じゃないのか。Get hime cut in Nippon. 女の子の年齢は秘密。秘密。秘密なもんだ。あなたは、思想の教授のように見えます。無礼だね。あ、無礼。そう。無礼者。悪いだ。間違いだった。無礼者。日本語がさびってるから、久しぶりにあんまり日本語で話せないし、I got some stuff from Costco. I got some instant coffee and cheese bread. And also, I got some roast. I got meat for a roast. Ow! Fuck. That hurt. Shit. Coffee. 話せてるよ、日本語。いや、よくできてる。ああ、よかった。あなたは運命を信じますか?運命か。 その質問は、運命。運命を信じることか。I don't know, to be honest. Maybe. 日本人すぐ年齢とか聞く。ごめんね。ああ、年上、年上、年年か、年、違う。錆びてる。人関係系で大切だからかもしれません。確かにそうですね。なんだっけ、なんていうの、what is it called again? I forgot. It was like the system. What is it called? Creep. 年下。I don't like. I know in Japan you no. It's not called keigo. It's 巡礼、礼順何々なんか恋愛用例か。What is it? How do you pronounce it again? 恋序列だ。序列違ってる。年功序列。序列。そう。序列。年功序列。Because in Japan they have the 年功序列 system. Discord がありますか？あるよ。Do a lot of people in Japan speak English as well as you? 序列。I see. Not 序列、序。序列。序列。They have Asians in Canada. There is a lot of Asian people in Canada, you know. Although where I grew up, there was like almost no Asian people. It was almost all white people. 年功序列合ってるよ。Well, I didn't know you spoke Mandarin. I don't speak Mandarin, I speak Japanese. She's still. It's my Japanese is very rusty right now because I haven't spoken in like 2 months maybe. I've just been speaking English for like the past 2 months, and because of that, my Japanese has been kind of getting rusty. 上下関係 hierarchy. Uh, I thought you said you went to ghetto schools. I did go to a ghetto school. I preferred the ghetto school. あなたはとても綺麗です。Do animals exist in Canada? No, we have mythological creatures. You speak Japanese well though? Really? I don't know. My Japanese is really rusty. I know a lot of vocabulary, but right now it's just not coming to my head. Like, I do know a lot of Japanese, it's just right now it's just rusty. The grammar is not fully coming in, and I'm just like, eh. Tower of God fan? I haven't read Tower of God. Do you have people to talk to keep up your Japanese skills? So the thing is, where I am, there is actually very few Asian people. And also where I grew up, there's also very few Asian people. So there'd be a lot of times where I'm like the only Asian person in like my entire school. Or for example, like I went to Ottawa a few weeks ago, and there's like this wacky thing that happened where I was like in downtown Ottawa in the, what is it called? The market, what is, I was in downtown Ottawa and there was this guy, this like dude with a mohawk. He was like a white guy with a mohawk. And he was dressed like he was a security guard. Like he dressed like he was from like Men in Black or something. I was in the car, right? He looks at me, he waves hi, and then he just like he bows like this while I'm in the car. And I'm like, I was like really sleep deprived at that moment, and I was like half awake. And it's like the first thing I see is just a guy that looks like he came out of Men in Black, just like look at me, wave at me, and then do a full like bow. Byward Market, yeah, Byward Market. I was like, bro, what the fuck? Like, man was dressed like he was from Men in Black. He's just standing there. He sees me in the car. I'm like inside the car. He sees me in the car. He turns to me. He does this and goes. I see that I'm like half asleep, and I'm like, what? That sounds like a dream, lol. Damn, he went that low. Yeah, he did a full bow. He like really, he went like full in, just like this, like just to me in the car. I was like, yo, wait a minute, what the fuck? いい流れよ。 Sounds like some random moment in Nichijou. This is like in downtown Ottawa. This is like the other side of the planet from Japan. You know, in Ottawa, there's very few Asian people. Or like for example, I get like random shit. Like I remember I was with my grandpa. Uh, yeah, I was with my grandpa. He was gonna go into the bank, so he drove me to the bank with him so he could take out some money. And so he parked the car in the parking lot, and I waited in the car for him. And so this guy comes out with his like big Chevrolet or something, his like big truck, right? He looks at me and he says, "Hey, do you speak English?" Ni hao. Before I even get to say anything, like he asked and he didn't even let me answer. He immediately pulled out the ni hao. I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay." Chad move. Bro, and the crazy thing is like, yo, this is the city I was like that is where I was born, right? True Canadian hero. That's weird behavior. I've had so many cases of just people saying like really weird things to me because I'm Asian. Just because I'm Asian. Or just like just, just emotionally dropped kicked out of nowhere. Or it's just like I think there was this like old lady on this train, or not on the train, on the bus when I was in Ottawa. And uh she was like trying to start a conversation with me. So she like looks me in the eyes and she says like, "Are you Asian?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "Oh, I can tell because of your eyes." And this is when this is like COVID period, so you had the masks on. So I had my like masks. All you could see was eyes. and I'm just like, "Yo, who even asks that?" Honey checks. Thank you for the $5. Patch, 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 patch. Patch, patch. She seemed like a very sweet old lady, to be honest, but I'm just like so confused. I'm just like, like, why do you even need to ask that? no, no way. It's like this is the stuff. This is like the kind of stuff I get for just being like an Asian person in like some places in Canada. If I were like in say like Richmond Hill or like what is the other like North York, I think, in Canada, it'd be completely normal. Like nobody questions it. Uh it's kind of funny because I always see like anytime that there's like other Asian people like passing by, they always smile at me because they're like, "Oh, another fellow Asian person." Or like if I was in like Richmond Hill or like North York, it's like it'd be completely normal. There was just like nobody would really question it. In fact, I'm like kind of confused when I see like so many other Asian people in Canada. Do you play Pokemon cards? Is it popular to play in Canada? Um, Yeah, it's popular to play Pokemon in Canada. It's just I don't really play card games because I was only child and I didn't have people to play with. At least you're laughing about it now. Her Asian senses were tingling. Well, it's like, no shit, I am Asian. Maybe because there aren't any Asians, and aren't many Asians where you were. Yeah, where I was like growing up, there was not many Asians. Like, uh, I've like moved around places in Canada a lot, but like it was all the schools was in, it was like I was like one of the few Asian people. Like there was like three other Asian people maybe in like some of the schools. Only child, you must have been spoiled. No, I was not an only child because I was not spoiled. I was neglected. I was raised by my grandparents, not my parents, because my parents were just like doing their own thing. My parents were mostly absent from my life. Is that a CRT in the background? Yes. It's opposite in some places in Canada. Yeah, um there is places in Canada where it's like only Asian people. I'm not used to it though. It's like when I go to those places, like, yo, did I just like, am I like in like Korea or something right now, or like China? Looks like Hong Kong at the moment. Well, it's because the buildings are all like Western. I don't know. Korea probably has like kind of Western looking like buildings, like modern looking buildings. Are your parents black? Wait, what? Do you experience a lot of racism there? Well, like, I don't know. Like, it depends on what you count as racism. Because, like, for me personally, as a Canadian, I wouldn't say I've had, like, hate, like, Asian. I haven't had Asian hate. But I have had a lot of people are, like, really ignorant when it comes to Asian stuff or, like, Asian people in general. It's, like, very confusing. Like, for example, people just assume I'm a foreigner or I'm not from Canada, but even though I was born in Canada and I'm a Canadian citizen, it's not fair. 아리사苦労してるの僕も複雑な家庭です。仲間かな I guess maybe we would have similar situations. I don't know. My situation is a lot of uh, relatable. No, when I tell people about my family, they're like, "Oh damn, I never heard of anything like that." It's really difficult to explain to people. There's just hella immigrants. Most people assume I'm an immigrant too. It's not common Asians in Canada. If it was larger community, more people would understand you're Canadian. Canada Canada is very multicultural, you know. There are cities where it's almost completely Asian people in Canada. I was just not part of it. Like in the area I was in, it was mostly white people. But there are like Vancouver, for example, it's like almost completely Asian people. Ima wa Nihon ni sunde imasu ka? Kanada ni sunderu yo. Uh, like honestly, it's like it's the feeling of that like even though I was born here, I tried to assimilate for so many years and I still get treated like a foreigner is one of the is one of the reasons why I want to just like move to Asia. It's why I want to move to Japan. It's basically the same here in UK. You'll basically be asked, where are you actually from? Apparently that's rude in like America and Canada, but it's kind of normal here. Well, it's different because you have so many different countries. There's so many different like countries beside each other, whereas Canada and US they're huge, right? So it's not common for people to be of like come from different countries. That's crazy. I just thought Canada was more accepting. They are accepting for the most part. Like as I said before, I haven't felt like hate, right? I've never felt like I've been hated for being Asian, but I definitely feel like an outsider for sure for being Asian. It's difficult because there's a chance that in Japan they'll treat you like an outsider too, but I hope not. Well, the difference is that like in Japan, it's like I already know what they're thinking too, right? Because like I deal with that all the time with my own family. So when I was in Japan, they for the most part they kind of treated me more like one of them. The funny thing is um, like in Canada, I'm used to people just asking like my ethnicity as like the first thing that they ask, like even in like real life too. I don't know why it matters so much to people, but it definitely makes me feel like an outsider, and I feel like I have to like defend myself, as like a Canadian. It was definitely a breath of fresh air that when I went to Japan, I realized that nobody cared. 多分日本に来ても全然大丈夫だと思う。日本語めっちゃうまい、マジで。I think your Japanese level is excellent and you enjoy staying here. Yeah, like I went to Japan last year and I think people treated me a lot better in Japan than they treat me here. Cause actually I felt a lot less like a foreigner in Japan than I do here. Cause it's like even like guys trying to flirt with me, they seem a lot more respectful. Whereas I feel like here, uh, I I get guys trying to flirt with me all the time, and they always have to ask is like, do you like anime or just uh like so are you Chinese or are you Japanese? And this like that's just an immediate like turn off for me because it's like I don't want to feel like an outsider. You know what I mean? Especially if someone's like coming to like approach me, I would want them to like be a little bit more, see me more as like a face to face, like a human, right? Whereas I don't want to be seen as like a label. I, I feel like that doesn't make a healthy relationship. But it's like in Japan, it was nice to feel like nobody cared. And that was like such a breath of fresh air. There was some people that were trying to flirt with me in Japan when I was there, but they said they stated they were very respectful about it. They were like, "You're very cute, but I know I shouldn't be rude and like, you know, I know I don't have a chance right now and I shouldn't be rude about it, so I'm just going to leave it here and we can talk about slot cars or something." Something, you know, I'm like, that amount of respect towards like the opposite gender is so new to me. I was in Japan, I was like, wait a minute, they actually see me as like a person there. And whereas here, I remember times I would like get like I'd go to like a convenience store or like a shopping square. Some people will try to like whistle at me or they'll meow at me. I'm like bro, I'm not a piece of meat. Cause like, no, it's like when I get talked to or when people approach me, they always see me as like just an Asian person, like exotic. I'm exotic. I don't want to be exotic. It's like I remember I was just walking to like the shopping center before, and then this guy comes out of his like house and he tries to like sell me books or something, right? I'm like, what did you say? I don't know what you said. And he's like, wanna come inside for a bit? I'm like, why? And he's like, wanna fuck? And I'm like, yo, okay. And it like actually kind of pisses me off because that was just in my neighborhood. It's like I wasn't out there looking for anything. This it was just like a suburb area, and it's like, yo, I'm just trying to get like chocolate or like groceries, and you're down bad like that. I'm like, bro. It's like I get stuff like that, and it actually pisses me off. Canada is insane. It's just like the really like ghetto areas. There's like some of those people that are just like they're no good. They're no good to be around. So disrespectful. It's like the crazy thing is too, I get people whistling at me when I'm wearing stuff like this. I'm not trying to be provocative. I'm literally wearing like a jacket, a baggy sweater. It was like the fall and I was wearing like as is. I was wearing like my this jacket right here. I was wearing this. And they're dog whistling at me. They're dog whistling at me in this. Like what? And I'm like, I'm just trying to like get chocolate or like at the get chocolate at like the Shoppers Drug Mart or like just get groceries. And they're doing that. It's so rude. It's extremely rude. It's creepy. Jacket is firing though. Normal people stopped whistling at girls in the 50s. That's cool jacket though, for real, for real. Even if you were covered like an Eskimo, it's my face. It's literally it's because I'm Asian. I think it's because I'm pretty and I'm also Asian. A lot of people go after Asian girls just because they're Asian. And it like, maybe nobody cares about it in Japan. Let's play Beyblades. The nice thing in Japan is that I remember is that they acknowledged it, but they didn't make it a big deal. At least because I can speak the language, right? Or I don't have to explain my ethnicity all the time to everybody. People are just like, oh, cool. Although there was this one time where this really drunk guy when I was in Osaka, he was asking me to go to his place. He was really drunk though. He was like so drunk. He was like completely blasted drunk. That's Japanese people generally don't are too shy to actually ask people. That's rough, or woman, I guess, whatever. I mean, after one drink. It's like it's like this weird feel. It's hard to describe to someone who hasn't experienced the same thing, but it's like this feeling that in Japan nobody cares about my race. And that's such a good feeling, especially for me who's felt like a foreigner in my own country for my entire life, pretty much. Even though I try to fit in. It's like maybe if I was in Kabukicho, and then there would be the oni-san that are giving out the flyers to like hire girls. That's different though. You're in a red light district. I live in a suburb in the middle of nowhere, Canada, surrounded by druggies and garbage. There's a term called yellow fever. Thank you for the 20R. Come to Brazil. Here, everyone is a mix of 5 ethnicity. Nobody cares about race. Have you? I grew up in Canada as an Asian and never felt foreign. It depends on where you are. But like for me, I grew up as the only Asian person in like my entire school for like many years. Surrounded by druggies and garbage, and that sounds like my home city now. No way. I'm Chinese, yet every time I go to China, I feel like a foreigner. Because it's just like, it can be difficult if you, especially if you grew up in like Canada or like the West, right? If you adopt to it or if you naturalize to it, it can feel like a bit strange at first, like a bit foreign. Send her to Brazil. She's cute. She'd be popular in Brazil. Bruh. Donna メイクを使ってるの？使ってない。 メイクを使ってない。化粧を使ってない。Everyone to care a lot about race in Brazil, depending on where you are, can be really bad. It's even the most accepting countries, race is always an issue. It's like no matter what, even in Canada, which is known to be a very accepting country of race. Thank you for the $50, and be glad to see your shop do so well. Hope to catch the next drop. Thank you so much, Petra. Thank you for the first donation. I'm sure you will get the next drop. But race is always an issue. I feel like the people who don't think race is an issue or like race matters are people who mostly live in homogenous areas. That's my opinion, kind of hot take, but it's like the fact that in Canada, even, which is known to be a very accepting country for a race, that the certain races will congregate in certain cities almost like completely. Like Vancouver, for example. Vancouver, you have so many Asian people, they all congregate to Vancouver, or Richmond Hill, or North York. They're all like congregated there. It's like people don't think about it, but it does matter a lot. And it's like to deny it's like a thing is like really, I think, kind of ignorant, in my opinion. It's like the thing is too is that they're not inherently being hateful, because like I said before, in Canada, I need to clarify, I've never felt hate towards my race. In the US I did. In the US I feel like there's some people that just didn't like me because of my race. But Canada, I've never had like a time where it seemed like people didn't like me because I was Asian. At least in person, right? But it does wear on you after like 20 something years of just feeling like an outsider, or like when you try to talk to people, there's sometimes a cultural difference and you don't know why, and it's hard to figure out. Like even when I go to like friends' houses or whatever, slurping noodles, for example, like like Asian people, they slurp their noodles and they hold their cup like bowl up like this. Slurping noodles is considered rude in a white household. So when I go to like someone else's household, I make sure I don't slurp like I'm used to, even though it's supposed to be normal for me, right? Wait, you was born in Canada? Yes, I was born in Canada. I'm Canadian. It pisses me off that I have to explain that all the time. Uh, I should start cooking roast beef. I'm gonna put the oven on like 200.うんうん。なんとなくけど、分かったよ。日本人でも分かってる。Speaking Canadian. we speak, get some of that. I eat them slowly because they're hot. You're supposed to slurp them so slurping them stops them from feeling so hot in your mouth. If you slurp them, it puts air into it and it cools it down in your mouth. Thank you for the $10. Low-key relatable. When I go to Mexico, I'm not attractive. When I go to California, everyone's trying to get at me, contact me, although they mainly bring up drugs, weapons I smuggle. Wait, weapons you smuggle? おっさんだな。A half in Japan would also have to explain how they're born there, I'd imagine. I'm not half, though. People keep thinking I'm half because I'm pale, but I'm not half. OK. I guess Asians don't raisin, am I right? You're amazing, Elisa. Keep being amazing. I also slurp because in most shops there is such a limited seating, they want you to eat quickly and move on to the next salary man. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. You like vivid colors on your clothes? Yes, I do. I like, for me, because I'm an artist, I like kind of like comfy wear, but like very bright colors is like my style. So like this is a normal jacket, but it has the kiku no gara. Kiku. So it is very bright, or I guess like haneru. Haneru. So it's very bright and it looks cool. I like that. When I went to Osaka, I fit right in. Ain't no way I'm wearing that in public. For me, I don't even care. I stand out anyways because I'm 6 feet tall. So people stare at me regardless, so I might as well wear bright colors. I'm very used to getting stared at in public. I used to not like it, but it just happens. Your style seems like it would be the same regardless of weather, time, or day or occasion. The very I don't give a fuck style. Yeah. Japanese people in Japan have some of the best styles. They do. They do. They definitely have great style. Thank you for the $20. I can totally relate, but it's actually the opposite for me. My Japanese friends treat me with more respect than anyone in my own city or country. Haven't had any bad experience from interacting with them. Oh, really? But thank you for the $20. Patch, patch, patch. Elisa the Titan from AOT for real. Yeah, I'm huge. I'm gigantic. I'm like. Thank you for the 500 MX. Hey Lisa, great job on your channel from Mexico. Thank you for the donation. Punch, punch, punch. You're contributing to a good cause. I'm an artist in traditional painting, so そのジャケットは興味があります。いいデザイン。AOT Chung. You should get swole. Imagine if I was like huge, if I was like swole as fuck. Wait, a general question. Seeing how you're taller than most men in Japan, how do people look to you? Well, people stare at, like, I'm used to getting stared at. People stare at me here too. Like, they look at me, they're like, oh wow, very tall. In Japan, it's the same thing. They'll stare at me too, especially in the bathroom. Like, if I'm in the bathroom and someone's waiting for my stall, if I open the stall and then they see me coming out of the stall, they're like, oh, okay, okay. If you live in Japan, you would be living comfortably. Rent is super cheap out there. This is why I want to go to Japan. It's like the rent is half. I live in the middle of nowhere in Canada, surrounded by garbage and druggies, and it's dangerous. It's too dangerous to go outside, so I don't go outside. I live in a very poor area. If I am paying the same amount of money for rent as if I were to live in Tokyo. Actually, more. If I were to get a garbage apartment in Tokyo, it would be cheaper than this apartment. To be fair, this apartment's a lot bigger, but still, it's like, yeah, I don't like Canada. What's stopping you going? I'm trying to build up a savings so that I don't have to move back to Canada if there's an issue. Thailand is even cheaper and easier to stay long term. The problem is I don't speak Thai. I don't speak Thai, so that's going to be an issue. Besides money, what would hold you back? Literally nothing. Nothing. Like, if I have the money for it, there's literally nothing holding me back. At least now I'm getting somewhere with the Shopify store, so it's making quite a bit of money. I can at least use that money to help myself survive in Japan. I'll be making American dollars while in Japan. And American dollars are like 40%, 40% more valuable than the Japanese yen. So with conversion rates, it would be a very good, very beneficial conversion rate. But the Japanese yen is very similar to the Canadian yen in like value. I know in Japan they've been talking a lot about how the yen is like weakening and how that's a big issue. And I can see why that's an issue because they have like a lot of they need imports so that they can manufacture stuff. And if their yen goes down in value, then it makes it difficult to trade. But for Canada, we have a similar value to the yen for our currency. It's about like 90 yen is 1 Canadian dollar. It's like 150 yen to 1 USD, right? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Canadian, did I say Canadian yen? Canadian, Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar, wait. Elisa, are you an economist too? No, not really, but I do look at a lot of economy video economic videos and stuff online because I'm kind of autistic and I like numbers. Uh, Canadian rupees. Enyasu, endaka. Yeah, I know those words. Thank you for the 500 MX. Come to Mexico, give you free housing. I don't know, Mexico seems kind of dangerous with the drug trades. Uh, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to get back to you on that. Thank you so much for the donation though. Patch. Soon, we'll be able to get to our goal of an IRL stream in Japan. We're like almost halfway there. Can we make it to halfway on the goal here? That'd be kind of cool. Autistic, yes, I am diagnosed with autism. Are you planning on living in Japan or just visit? I am planning on living in Japan. 日本は安いよ. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper than Canada. How about the drug situation in Canada? It's very bad. It's very bad. I don't like it how when I go to Japan, they're like, oh, sorry. Someone's at my door. Hold on. Okay. I'm back. Yup, that's for drugs. Drug delivery. Course. No, Canada has like a really bad drug situation. I don't like how when I went to Japan, when I said I'm from Canada, they're like, カナダは大麻合法でしょ? And I'm just like, is that literally all Canada's known for in Japan? It's like the only thing Canada is like known for in Japan is that weed is legal. And it's from like those Osaka people, you know, like the kind of like those people with dreadlocks in Osaka. And they're like kind of trying to emulate like those rappers or whatever, and they clearly seem like they want to like smoke weed. "そんなことはばっかりよ." For some reason, Japanese people are like really scared of weed or something. Lamau. Honestly, I'm sick of seeing it. Like, I don't like drugs. I don't like people doing drugs or any kind of drugs. It's like I am pretty like after like I maybe like before I like moved out, I wasn't like so against drugs. After moving out, I am firmly against drugs. I don't like drugs. I don't like people like smoking weed. I don't like people like doing meth. Even smoking or drinking, I think is not good. Thank you for the dollar. Whoa. Most of Japanese people think Canada is maple syrup country. Lol. Yeah, I know that. I do ask Japanese people about what they think of Japan. It's just maple syrup country and weed. I'm doing caffeine right now. Respectable. I don't like weed, but here it's gradually getting used in Japan. Yeah, I know that. I've heard there's people bringing it to Japan. Hello from Ukraine. Thank you for the $10. Can we get to the 50% mark on our goal? I believe we can do it. But thank you for the money from the Ukraine, American dollars from Ukraine. How are you giving US dollars from Ukraine? I'm confused. But thank you anyways. Support Ukraine. Support from Ukraine, support to Ukraine. It should be a personal choice. I think the problem is that people don't realize the implications of this stuff. The thing with weed is that it makes you complacent. That's the thing I don't like about weed. It's also that people underestimate the effects of weed for like young people. It definitely ruins your brain for people who are developing. Trying to help with the goal. Thank you, Blackboard Goro, Zoro. Thank you for the $20. Patch, 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 patch. Like maybe if you just do it like once or something, just to like see because you're curious, it's like whatever, it's fine. But if you're a regular user of it, it's gonna ruin your life in the long run. It can ruin your life in the long run. It's gonna be used as a crutch to cope with your situation. I don't think that's good, especially because if you're gonna need to find a way to make it out of your bad situation, like being a NEET, right, or hikikomori, if you're smoking weed, it's just gonna put you back into the situation, and it's like that doesn't help anybody. Facts. People who endorse weed don't realize that the academic world hasn't been widely used or used long enough to see what general effects are. Thank you for the 100,000 IDR. Good luck on the IRL stream in Japan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Contributing to a good cause. Weed is probably way better than alcohol. I mean, that's why I don't condone alcohol either. I don't think people should drink. I don't think people should smoke. I don't think people should smoke weed. I think it's like maybe once in a while, say, if like say like just once you were offered like alcohol or whatever, it's like if you are able to control it, if you have an addictive personality, then don't. But it's like once in a while, just for like being able to, you can. But I definitely think that drugs, just as a whole, you shouldn't do it. It's like the Buddhists. The Buddhists don't do any kind of drugs. They don't do alcohol. They don't do tobacco. Nothing. I only do caffeine. Even caffeine, I don't like caffeine like once in a while just to get a boost, like when you really need to crunch. But I would say for me, I try to avoid caffeine. It's neat you're aware. Have you seen Iodine District in Osaka? I have not. thought Buddhists got high off of meditation. 日本に住むならどの町に住みたいんですか? I'm not sure actually where I should where I would live in Japan. I don't know. I like Osaka because I kind of like the Osaka culture because they like bright colors and they're more casual. They're also a lot more talkative. And I think the seina the accent is kind of funny. I like the accent or okini. To with like in Japan, Tokyo feels very corporate. I don't really like the corporate feeling, so I kind of like Osaka for that. Weed, cigarettes, alcohol, and drugs in general are a problem in our society. If it's just for celebration, sure, but overall, most people lose control. These are just doors for addiction. Yeah, or maybe not. In Canada, you don't classify it as addiction. It's reliance, over reliance. Because the thing with weed is that people can say it's not addictive, but people use it as a coping mechanism, which is kind of addiction, but it's technically not classified as addiction, but it's kind of is addiction because you're using it to cope and you can't stop using it. So it's like kind of addiction. It's like the over reliance issues. Osaka no hito wa omoshiroi yo ne. ASU 340. Thank you for the $2. Hi. Thank you so much, Patch, contributing to a good cause in Japan. We're almost 50% though. I thought that was called functional addiction. I didn't realize you sold out on your stickers. I bought some right before, I guess. Yeah, there was just so many. I had to like cut off. I had to pause. Thank you for the 50 euros. Jesus, have fun on your trip. Thank you so much. Patch. Thank you for the donations. Facts is a crutch, sometimes a way to escape. Yeah, and I think it's sometimes people need escapes, but to be over reliant on your copes is not a good idea. It's not very I don't know, how would I say it? Not very zen. Would that be a way to say it? Not very zen. It goes against Buddhist principles, so I do not like it. Iodine district is called slum in Japan. I think it's the closest to drugs, I think. I mean, I've seen videos of it. It's really not that bad. I've seen worse walking just like a few blocks away from my house. There are straight up better things. Thank you for the 50 Canadian, Jesus Christ. Well, for some of us, bottle of 4 Rose is a lot cheaper and reliable than therapy. As long as you can quit cold turkey with no withdrawal, I don't see a problem. Good luck on the trip, by the way. Thank you so much for the 50 Canadian, a fellow Canadian. You are contributing to a good cause with the live stream. Thank you so much. The thing is, not everybody can control themselves. That's the issue. It's like, it's best not to give people the like access to it, because it's like you can say it's a personal choice or that some people can control themselves. People are not good, like they're not good at telling if they're good at controlling themselves. People are not good at controlling themselves. So I think you should at least make it difficult to make the choice to actually smoke it. Because if it's difficult, it's easier to control yourself. if it's hard, if you don't have to think about it, right? If you make it accessible and easy, most people do not have good discipline or self-control to do that. So they can easily use it as a cope. Especially with the situation in Canada is really bad. A lot of people are using weed as like a cope. And eventually they cope so much with weed that they eventually move on to harder drugs. They're not necessarily addicted to weed technically by the technical term, but it's because they're looking for a way to cope with suffering, like the reality of suffering, that they go to drugs. I see it all the time in the streets, and it's really sad to see. The bar is almost 50%, yay. Isn't gateway drug shit BS? Well, it depends, because the health organizations may use different measures on what is considered a gateway drug, what isn't. The way they measure it is not accurate. I think because they can even label something as addiction versus over reliance, right? The fact that there's a differentiation, it shows that they can change the perception of the topic so much. I think it's more just like the fact that people use it to cope. The fact that people use like any drugs to cope shows that they might use another drug to cope eventually. It's not necessarily the drug itself making them addictive, like being addictive or a gateway drug per se. It's more just the fact that they're coping with drugs is the issue, I think. Drugs should be regulated for safety because people are going to always use them. Prohibition doesn't work. The problem is Canada does this already. They have the safe suppliers. The issue is that people take the drugs from the safe suppliers, they take them once, they get addicted, and then they don't even use the drugs, but they use them as currency to sell to other people so that they can buy harder drugs. That safe supply doesn't work. I think just prohibition would just be better. It's like safe supply is like awful. I see stuff like disposable needle bins around parks and stuff, and I think it's awful to see that. Like there's like this like yellow hazmat like bins where you put needles to do heroin. It's the government's literally supplying people with heroin, like free heroin. And it's like, it pisses me off because I see these people on the street. It's so sad to see them. You stoked the weed hornet nest. You'll never get off this topic unless you just move on from it yourself. I can't move on for it because I see it in real life and it pisses me off to see this now. It's like before I moved out, it wasn't a big deal for me, but now it's just like I see it in person. I see all these people just like wasting their life, and it makes me mad. It makes me like actually angry to see that. It's like it makes me sad to see that. Like I go to the more popular, like the downtown area around where I am, and I see these people just walking down the streets, and all they do is they just sit in the corner and do heroin on the streets. And it's like, why do you do that? You have so much you could be doing other than this. But no, it's just they just want to chase the next high. But I know it's like they're coping because I know the situation's awful for most people right now. It's like, it really makes me sad to see that. At least it's a feeling and not indifference. Vancouver is real life cyberpunk. Yeah, like I know someone who does live by the drug, like the drug street in Vancouver. It's like the biggest open like drug market in the world at this point. It's really sad to see that. Where can you see these people in Toronto? If you go to the gay village, you definitely can see a lot of those kinds of people. 日本にずっと住むつもりですか? I think I do want to maybe long term live in Japan. I want to see first, but I feel like I probably choose like living in Japan long term. West Hastings, West Hastings, lol. Yeah, it's like really bad. I passed by that in Vancouver. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. Vancouver in the last 4 years has been insane. I've revived 2 people. Canada used to be a great place. It's sad. Wish some people would get better help. The thing is that drugs are the easiest thing to access, like for your cope, right? The problem is that one of the biggest issues is that people don't have places to go or to work, or even there's like such a rise in people in Canada who have full-time jobs and are still homeless. There's a working homeless population in Canada. And it's like, what? So they're working full-time jobs. They're still homeless. I think that's what's causing a lot of people to turn to drugs, to be honest. Hard to help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. The thing is that you need to make it difficult to actually use that as a cope, because then they'll actually find other ways to get around it. If you make it too easy to cope with easily accessible things, Canada's rent is supposedly worse than the US. Yes, it is. It is really bad. Canada そんなに自国なの? What up? I was in Japan, summer everywhere has this problem, but damn, Japan is just so good. Well, the thing is, I feel like at least the government in Japan has has the people. Like, it has the people's best interest, at least. That's what I feel. Like, looking into some Japanese politics and versus Canadian politics, it just feels like the government in Canada doesn't actually care about its people anymore. I remember growing up and thinking Canada was just a safer, nicer version of America. It used to be like that. It used to. Now it isn't. Thank you, Cooksby, for the $20. I live in Vancouver now. Now I want B to pay rent, but it's okay. What? Huh? Thank you for the $20 anyways. Yeah, rent is extremely expensive in Vancouver. Japan's so good, no drugs, high as suicide. Japan doesn't have that high of a suicide rate. Japan's suicide rate is not much higher than the US's. It's not even the top 10 suicide rates. Korea, like South Korea, has a much higher suicide rate. Nobody talks about it though. Japan does not have even close to the highest suicide rate. It used to be quite a high suicide rate in the 1990s when the financial crisis happened. That's where it's got its like reputation for having a high suicide rate. Now the suicide rate in Japan has been going down year after year since 2000, the year 2000. Like, if you look at the statistics, Korea has way higher suicide rates than Japan, like way higher. It's more Korea that people should be worried about, but people keep talking about Japan, but it seems like it's just diverting away like from the issues in Korea. What about the hikikomori issue that's going on in Japan? That's a pretty worldly thing, you know. A lot of these issues that are happening in Japan are not just Japan. It's just like in the West we have this like fixation on Japan and Japan politics or whatever. It's a very common Asian thing. Not even just Asian thing, even like in Canada there's a lot of them. Maybe I was joking about van rent. I went to his in Japan. I argue that anyone at suicide rate I've learned Japan. And US and Bahamas JP each. Thank you for the $5. Depressed people everywhere. Japan just has a term for it. Hikikomori are everywhere. They just put a name to phenomena. Yeah, like it's just because it's a Japanese thing to name everything. Like karoshi, for example, overworking to death. The funny thing is, the U.S. has higher working hours than Japan on average. But yet, it's because Japan has a word for it and a legally defined, like karoshi line, that it's an issue in Japan. But nobody talks about the fact that U.S. workers on average work way more than Japanese workers. 일본의人口減少問題に対してどの対策を実行するつもりの I'm honestly not sure about to do the population though, but it is also a worldly issue. It's not just Japan. Same in Canada, like in the US and Canada, the only reason why we have why our birth rates are like actually even positive is because we import, so many people immigrate to Canada. Are you taking the train in Japan? What are you looking forward to eating in Japan? Will you fist fight the kaiju? Thank you for the 140, Czar. Hello, Lisa. Keep making content. I really like the style of your videos. I'm confident you will be successful. Thank you. China's 996 work culture is way worse. I don't actually know about China's 996 work culture personally. Personally, I don't know, but from what my dad talked about with like his Chinese friends he knows that came from China, they said Canadian work hours were actually worse than Chinese work hours. But it could very well be just like his specific situation, where this guy that immigrated from China to Canada expecting a better life actually worked more hours in Canada than he did in China, and it's like, well, it's a lot of things in Asia, they're just famous for it, but they're not unique for it. It's just because they have a word for it that people assume it's only that country that has it. I think the worst issue in China right now is actually the high youth unemployment rate. It's actually like very high. So that's why you have the lie flat movement. Nine nine six. About North Korea. I don't know much about North Korea. I can't really comment. I'm gonna put some roast in the oven because my oven is at 200 now. Yeah, I'm just putting these two roasts and then salting them with some salt and pepper. You can't see what I'm doing, but there we go. Very thoroughly salted my schmeat. Thank you for the money. Did someone new donate? Neat's Kitchen. Work hours wouldn't be so bad if out of touch CEOs were making us go to the office. Still, so many jobs can be done from home. I don't think that's like the only issue though. Uh, Thanks for the knowledge. Also expecting the better life opportunity in Canada than the rest of Asian countries, but I guess I might have to rewire my understanding about it. There's actually a lot of Indian people that come to Canada, like quite rich Indian people that come to Canada expecting a better life. They end up regretting it. A lot of them end up regretting it because they actually debt trap you, and they debt trap Indians in Canada, and so they can't afford rent. A lot of the Indian like exchange students that come to Canada, they go to the food banks. So you have like food banks that are completely filled with just like Indian exchange students, and it's literally because they can't afford food in Canada. So they'll literally just take anything. I'm sorry I got triggered at least. Triggered? Triggered from what? If you have some knowledge about the Ushiwareta Sanju Nin, the lost 30 years, what do you think about it? Looks like it could go for around 40 years or more. Would you still want to live in Japan with that in mind? It's literally the same thing in Canada, you know? It's not just a Japan thing. This is also in Canada. In Canada, wages aren't expected to rise for 40 years. Uh, it's funny to hear that she try her to resolve Japanese problems. I don't know how to solve Japanese problems, honestly. I don't know the solution to the problems. But a lot of these issues with Japan are just like, they're a worldwide phenomena. Isn't meat super expensive in Canada? Yes, but because of my store, I can afford it. Or because of my Shopify store, I can afford it now. What's rent in Canada for one bedroom? You should expect depends on where you are, but one bedroom goes for around like 1,500 to 2,000 in Canada, Canadian dollars. How many years would it take the average Canadian to buy a house? You just can't buy a house. Do you think people buy houses here? They don't. They just don't. Unless you have like your own business and you make mad cash, you just don't buy a house here. Does every first world country have those societal issues or are they exceptions? They are like most first world countries have the same issues that Japan has. Japan is not unique with these issues. I'm not trying to say I can solve any of Japan's issues or the issues here, but I'm just trying to get the perception across that these issues are not unique with Japan. She can solve Japanese. No, I can't solve Japanese issues. Sounds like you're romanticizing Japan way too much, to be honest. At least for president of Japan, for real, for real. Are there countries that don't face those issues? Because it seems like everybody is copying everybody else. There are actually countries that do not face, like, don't have a lot of some of these issues. A lot of these issues. They're actually more developing countries like Vietnam, Thailand, Poland as well. I've noticed. Vietnam, Thailand, Poland, they are definitely growing economies, and they do seem to be looking up for the future. And then you might ask me, if I think that's true, why don't I just move to Thailand or Vietnam? It's just because I just felt like it. I said so. That's literally it. Prime Minister Alisa. So in Japan, haters here, we know why. It's literally just an American thing to downplay, like, Japan. Chikis are just more based, are gonna get wild takes naturally. It's like, obviously when most of my audience is Americans, they're gonna be like, no, America or the West is the best. Asia's number two. Like, what should I expect? Obviously, Westerners are gonna be pro-West. Like, but that's just my opinion. I don't care if you, like, believe it or not. It's just like, I get, like, actually emotional about this because it's like genuinely. Japan's problem is low wage. It's a great country for the poor who live in slums, and other countries truly rich, and most Japanese do fall into that category. Japan literally has the same average, like almost the same average wage as Japan. Not the exact same average wage. It's like slightly more. It's only slightly more than Japan. It's if you live in the US, if you're going from a US salary to a Japanese salary, in comparison, yes, it is a low wage. But you'd literally be getting the same salary reduction if you moved to Canada, probably even more, because the salaries are declining really fast in Canada. Everyone in America complains about America. It's literally an American thing to complain about America. Like, I already know who I'm talking to here. I know who my audience is. I don't give a shit about I don't give a shit about stepping on people's toes here, because it's genuinely, I get pissed off of the stuff I see in the streets. It's like, this is the reason why I was just like a hiki. The wage is lower compared to American wages, but isn't the work needed in Japan way higher? Don't Japanese work many more hours and require more work though? It's literally, the work hours statistically are about the same as America's, actually less. Japanese people work less than Americans on average. They actually work about as many hours as Canadians, believe it or not. Long work hours isn't a Japanese issue, it's a world issue. If you want low working hours, go to Germany. Germans are like always on vacation. Why are Canadians obsessed with Japan? Just in general, people in the West are like obsessed with Japan. Clearly. Me included. I'm digging that painting back there. Oh, I cracked my neck. This painting here, I think I painted this when I was like 16. It's not finished. I just did the undercoating. That's all there is in it. The undercoating. It's just supposed to be kind of creepy, kind of ominous. But it's like, yeah. Seems like every time a country becomes first world, they begin to have societal issues. Is it that raise and falling thing people always meme about? Yeah, there's always like raises and fall, like ups and downs. It's a karmic reaction, I guess. Karmic, maybe. But it's pretty natural for societies to collapse every 200 years or so. You are older than 16 years old. Thought you were a high school student. I said it. It's rude to ask my age, but I am in my early 20s, if that's what you're asking. Sorry, I'm just getting worked up, to be honest, because genuinely, it's like, generally the stuff's pissed me off. Thank you for the $84. Wow. In US, working while homeless is more common than you think. They're not making enough to afford monthly rent. Doing something about the need for low-income housing is on the rise, but not fast enough. It's literally the same issue in Canada. I can imagine that the US has the same issue. I never said that the US doesn't have that issue. It's just I'm more versed in Canada. But yeah, the reason why I wouldn't want to move to the US is because the US literally has the same problems as Canada for the most part. I'm not gonna solve any of my problems by moving to the US. Do you know Hiroyuki Nishimura? Your way of speaking sounds like him talking about so many difficult topics. Yes, I do watch his content sometimes. Sorry to ask your age again, so stop it. Um, America has money issues. People need to let money flow through a system or need better money distribution. Like literally, my peeve with Canada is that like we're supposed to be like America with like wages at least, because we have really hard working, but we're supposed to have some parts of like Europe. Instead, we just have neither. It's like worst parts of both Europe and the US. It's like we have the wages of Europe, but then we also have the social issues of the US, and it's like, bro, that just sucks. %50 time to accelerate. Wait, is it 50%? Oh, it is 50%. Yes! We did it. 50% this stream. Woo! Sorry, this stream is very political. It's move to the Netherlands. I don't. The thing is with the Netherlands is that they're funded by oil money, so I don't feel like the Netherlands is gonna last in a depression or in the long run. The Netherlands, although Netherlands was very nice. When I went to the Netherlands, it looked like a utopia. The problem is, I don't think their economy is actually real. Social issues are the same in Europe as for most of the West. Yes, I actually, I went to get like recordings of like trains. So I went like train spotting a bit so I can get like footage for like a video. Because I was gonna do like how to draw trains. I met this German guy actually while I was train spotting, and he was telling me about all the issues in Germany. And there's like this kind of like meme with stuff like synchronicity or like synchronicity that I talk about with my friends. And it's like, uh, it was like he said that a lot of the issues that happened in Germany happened around 2016, I think, which is almost like exactly in line with when things started to go down in Canada.日本に行ったことがなくて何も知らない人々が話しすぎて笑う。I don't know, am I really saying anything? Am I really saying anything wrong? I'm not saying that I can like save Japan. I'm not like a messiah. I'm just saying that a lot of the issues that are in Japan are not unique to Japan. Not you, Lyle, people in chat. Oh, I see. I mean, that's just the internet. That's just how people on the internet operate. It's people want to say stuff, but they don't know. I at least want to say, I want to at least give context for what I know, what I've researched into, because I am like, I'm really big on just like looking into stuff, and I'm kind of like autistic too. So a lot of this like, these numbers things, I do look into, and I just like to kind of talk about it. Not everybody understands, right? And that's just this matter of just perspectives, right? I know a lot of my user base is from like America or India, right? A lot of people assume I'm not poor because I live in Canada, but that's a perspective that comes from India. If you're from India, where most people are poor, it's like, sure, yes, technically, I don't live in the worst situation if you're from India. But if you're from America, which is a different perspective, Canadians are very poor. Are you actually autistic? Yes, I am. I have been diagnosed with autism. Same way, but I can't articulate myself too well, so I come off as an asshole. I'm great at first bad impressions. Inherently, when you have opinions, you are going to step on toes. There's no avoiding that. What I try to do is I just try to have not have opinions when I don't want to step on people's toes. I don't know. I've just been unleashed now because my autism has just been like completely unleashed. Being tagged with the tism or autist messiah. I knew it. I have it in my family, so you start noticing the mannerisms in others. I think most of your points are agreeable, so it's fine. I understand your frustration. It's like, I do look into a lot of these things. I know a lot of people come from different perspectives and they may not know about this stuff or they may not believe it exists because a lot of this stuff is made by perceptions, just perceptions, right? They're not real. There's you can market something that's not true, and if people believe it's true, it will in some sense become true, because it's like it's coming into fruition, right? How do you even diagnose someone with autism? Like, what's the process? I think it's literally you get a therapist, and the therapist diagnoses you. I remember when I was very young, I had like therapy sessions with this therapist that's supposed to ask me questions about certain things, and I had to answer them honestly, and then they would either tell the doctor if I was diagnosed autistic or not, and yes, I was diagnosed autistic. But for me, it was like it was only checked because I was doing really poorly in school because like I couldn't socialize well with other people. I couldn't talk to people very well, and it was hurting my schooling, so I had to get like the school like sent a therapist to talk to me. When did you decide to max your charisma build? When I maybe like in my teens, maybe no, just in general actually. I've always wanted to fit in. Like, is it a psychologist or I don't even know, to be honest. I can't tell the difference. When yeah, because I was autistic, my family did like belittle me a lot for being autistic, and it was like a big deal, especially like, you know, Asian households. They're not very open to like mental, uh, like people who are different on the mental spectrum or like have mental illnesses. They don't take it seriously. But to be fair, I think like the other way isn't exactly great either, in my opinion. Complete embrace of like mental issues is also bad, in my opinion. There needs to be some neutral ground, but I feel like when I was growing up, it was just like people assumed I couldn't do anything because I was autistic, or I was worse because I was autistic. I was not functional, or stuff. And I felt like inferior to everybody because I was autistic, and so I had this urge to fit in. I really wanted to fit in with other people, and it was really difficult, but I eventually got closer and closer over the years to doing it, and now at least people can't really tell I'm autistic. As Asian, there is no such thing as depressed or autistic. For them, you are just trying to be lazy and skip responsibility. Yeah. Sometimes doctors will diagnose people with conditions so they have a better chance in school. They might really have it or they might not. Or it's exaggerated, but it helps. I actually found that my diagnosis made my experience in school worse, to be honest. Like, because I'm special, I guess. I like honestly, I wish I wasn't diagnosed with autism because I felt like people looked down on me a lot because I was autistic. And so it got to a point where I actually did try to hide it that I was autistic for the like as much as possible. Can you feel the emotions of others? I actually think I feel emotions more than most people, to be honest. It's just I don't show it. I'm not very good at expressing it, so I don't like visibly show it very easily, but I do feel it probably stronger than most people actually. Or like it's real like when growing up with autism and being diagnosed with it, a lot of people would assume they know what I'm feeling when they really don't, but they never ask me because they assume asking me I'll say the wrong answer. Because it's like Autism Speaks really pisses me off. I don't like Autism Speaks. It's literally that. It's like, I remember, like my dad would compare autism as if I was like possessed or something. Uh, Thank you for the €6. Netherlands represent, how's the thickest doing? Uh, Here's the thickest. It's doing great, actually. Doing fine. Oops. Jesus, wow. I never met an autist who likes Autism Speaks. Honestly, I think Autism Speaks is like very hurtful to like autistic people growing up because adults would assume they know what you're talking about, or like adults will assume they know what you're feeling, but they really don't. And a lot of their perceptions are actually very derogatory towards autistic people, right? Like it was assumed, like for me growing up, it was always assumed I was never gonna be anything in life, or I was like completely gonna be dysfunctional. I was never gonna be able to move out, or I would be a hikikomori for like my entire life because I was autistic from the very beginning. But they never actually went to like see if like I could actually like apply myself in some way with some compromises. They just assumed I was a lost cause. Normie adults will not even wait long enough for you to say your mind in full. Yeah, 100%. I got that. It's like they'd they'd assume I feel a certain way, but they never actually ask me if how I felt. It's like it made me very um, it made me feel like I was a burden all the time, like growing up, and just like burdensome to my family, burdensome to the people around me. It made me feel really bad, and I had really bad self-esteem because of it. That's awful how people assume the worst out of you. A teacher told me I would be nothing too. It took me years to get over it. Yeah, it's just a thing that happens with like autistic people. I think a lot of it is just the perception of autistic people that Autism Speaks has like put into like adults that take care of kids is completely diluted and backwards. It's like they don't actually like they don't test on the autistic people like what they don't ask the autistic people what they think. They assume what they think. But because the autistic people can't speak for themselves because they are not always functional, they can't like, fight for themselves. And I think it's really like disgusting. I think it's disgusting. Isn't that just an Asian parents thing? Our parents really don't know. It's not just an Asian parents thing. It was teachers, not just parents, but teachers, like white middle-aged female teachers. It's literally they get their perception of autistic people from Autism Speaks. According to the studies, there's a loneliness epidemic right now, and COVID really put the worst of it. Like, I think that's pretty obvious. There's a loneliness epidemic worldwide. Apparently, 50% of young people in Canada feel loneliness on a regular basis, according to a survey. I don't know how accurate the survey is. It could just be also the people might be exaggerating their feelings. But it's like really bad. Loneliness, like feeling lonely, is not only a Japanese issue. Like you guys might be thinking I'm like glazing Japan, but a lot of these issues are exactly what happens in Canada too. They're not just Japanese issues. It's only a Japanese issue because they make it an issue, like they have a term for it. So it's formally known as an issue. In Canada, it is an issue. It's just we don't talk about it. Today, this is my mother believes I'm a homo. All because a bi girl sent me a love letter. Keep your chin up, girl. You're literally her, in my humble opinion. Thank you for the $10. I mean, you just gotta like. Sometimes parents just gotta be like that. They gotta be more willing to let their ego go, I guess. But I hope everything goes all right with you. The U.S. Surgeon General gave a review of loneliness epidemic. Capitalism has eroded our ability to socialize. I don't think this is a capitalism issue. This is like industrial society issues. I'm pretty sure, like historically, this has happened regardless of the political spectrum of like the society throughout history. Like this is not just a capitalist issue. This is a industrial society issue. This is a modern society issue. Do you have a circle of friends in your area? Not really. I have like a couple friends I talk to here and there. I see them like once in a while. I actually do struggle with loneliness quite a bit. I feel like I can't really go out and find friends. It's just I can't. The Industrial Revolution happened like 200 years ago. How long can it last? I don't know. How do you cope with loneliness? I try to talk with people on Discord. Like I have maybe a small friend group on Discord I talk to sometimes. I try to reach out to like friends and people as much as I can, whenever I can. Just going out of my way to reach out to people to make sure they're doing all right because I think it comes back to you, you know? It's good karma. But eventually it does compound and you might get some people like actually replying back to you and stuff with their things. Hello, Lisa. I happen to have blue pins on the paper Asaro head. I'm looking to make it badly. Hehe. I don't actually have blue pins on it. Most people can't make friends out of thin air. Easiest way is to have shared interests like a hobby. The problem is nobody has hobbies. And also nobody makes clubs. That's just only a thing boomers do. That's what also it's like what pisses me off, right? About Canada. Sorry to go back into the Canada rant, but nobody actually organizes anything ever. Have you ever think about doing conventions for like a fan meetup or a booth sale? I have done a convention before for like selling stuff, but I haven't done like a fan meetup because I haven't gone to a convention in like a couple of years. Getting okay with it is a way to get over loan. I think that's just submitting. You shouldn't do that. That doesn't work. Don't submit to it. It's a human need that everybody needs. If you're just okay with it, that's gonna bite you in the ass years later. What kind of club or organization would you join? Literally, like anything, just like art related, I would want. But I can't find them, they don't exist. Where I am, at least. I'm in the suburb and I've had to go to the mental hospital for isolation. I just can't meet people without money or and bad social skills. Yeah, that's an issue. It's like especially in the US and Canada has this issue. It's like it's so inaccessible to meet people because you have to drive so far, you have to spend so much money, you have to use so much gas. It's impossible to actually meet people. Like if you have friends, it's like ugh. The stream is too real, like in a good way. I Here's the thing, I can't not be real. I'm autistic. Like I know people like to say, "Oh, I'm so real, I'm so relatable," or whatever. The thing is like I'm not trying to be like when I'm talking like this, like just to the camera, I'm not trying to like be purposely real. Like, haha, I'm quirky. Guys, I'm so relatable. Like girl boss or whatever, right? Ha. Or something like that, whatever. I literally cannot do that. It's impossible for me to do that. I'm autistic. I can't. Girl boss. Incapable of not being authentic. This is why we like you. Yes, girl dinner. What about Canadian art discords? We have one here, but maybe it's easier because our country is small. Discords don't really do it for me. I need like like in person. Like Discord doesn't do it in the long run. It's like it helps satiate it a little bit, but nothing is gonna stop like that need for like in-person human connection. And that is just something you can't really get anymore, it seems. It's premium just to get friends now. Speaking of girl dinner, how's the roast beef? It's still cooking. It's gonna take a while. I don't think it's gonna be done for a while. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's still cooking. I completely disagree with Discord as well. Yeah, Discord's like kind of their business model is like the people that work there too are just like, eh. You need time and money to see friends these days. Yeah, it's really hard. Thank you for the 200 THB. Hey Lisa, I've been working on your streams for a while now. I messed up and I'll never fix that. Everyone I know said it's my fault for not do better. I'm so done now. Can you share something? Share something. Thank you for the donation. I'm sorry that that happened to you, but you messed up. I mean, I don't know your situation, but I hope you uh, maybe try to make up with the people. I don't know. Again, I don't know the situation. I can't really comment on it. I gave up, man. I will never be the same again after COVID, but I do see people regularly. I just feel empty inside. Your forehead is deliciously large. Is that inappropriate? I'll stop if it is. I think it's just the angle I'm at. I don't think my forehead's big. It's just I'm always in like an unappealing angle. What the fuck? Bro, deliciously. We said 10 on that. Ban him, ban him. Yo, ban. Is autism masking real? Yes, yeah, it is real. I know that you got 6:30 shrimping for your 6:30. Nothing better than people turning streamers into their personal therapists. I tend to get that a lot, actually. For some reason, people feel so comfortable around me that they tend to vent to me, and it's just something I've gotten. I think it's just because I'm just like real with people, and I seem knowledgeable enough about stuff that people just trust me immediately. Would you say that you made it now? 650 viewers? Oh, 650 viewers. Wait, I'm 600. Oh yeah, I'm over 600 viewers. Jesus. That's a lot of viewers. Man, a lot of people like watching me. It just seems like, uh, have you been diagnosed with ADHD too? I remember hearing in one of your videos, I haven't been diagnosed with ADHD, but I am diagnosed with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. Do you like people having vent at you? Actually, yes, because I like listening to people's like perspectives and feelings. Like I genuinely do like listening to people genuinely. Like I like listening to people's perspectives, like their gripes and their issues. And I like matching it with like other issues, like finding parallels with other people I've seen, or finding like things like that don't quite like fit together properly, like perceptions, I guess. Like a certain demographics or country's perception of another country can be quite different from the people of that country's experience. Like people usually assume Canada is like just better America, or that like Canada is such a good like country. But if you talk to anybody from Canada, they absolutely hate it here. Most Canadians hate Canada. Like not just like a dislike Canada. It's not just like an angsty like, oh, I kind of don't like Canada because it's like kind of boring. Like, you know, that kind of angst is like, oh, it's so boring here. Like, oh man, Canada. No, it's not just that angsty like hate for Canada. It's like they really hate this country and everything it stands for. Like like legit, it's just like to a point where some people even might consider domestic terrorism. Nah, man, your bacon is trash. To be honest, I don't like back bacon. It's not very good.ベイブレードの動画から来ました。あ、ようこそ。But I don't hate Canada. Uh, well, just wait till you work a job for 5 years and then that perception will probably change. It's like the only people that do like Canada are boomers who have already made it or young people who haven't been put into the workforce yet. As soon as you have to pay your own rent, people realize the issues that are apparent in Canada. I thought Canada is one of the best countries to retire to because of the old age benefits. Only if you're in the old age, like only if you're a boomer. Like actually though, like the old age benefits only benefits people who are born in a certain generation. If you're born now, you're not going to get anything. I have a friend in Canada, he says his rent is doubling every week. Yes, I believe that. Like, it's a thing. You know, even when, like, from the time I got this place, luckily, I was able to find a place that was a very good size for the price. But, like, the day after I bought this, the rent went up, like, almost 10%. And it's probably gone up again since then. But at least I'm like rent controlled, like rent locked. So I'm locked in. They can't raise the rent more than like a certain like 10% every year, I think, for me. So that's good, at least. But Canada has healthcare and medical benefits, talking emoji. That's if you can even get healthcare or medical benefits. Is the healthcare system good at least? No, there just isn't a healthcare system anymore. Like my friends like said, one of my friends said he, one of his like classmates is from Nigeria, and he said that they have better healthcare in Nigeria than they do in Canada. What's your dream country slash city to live in then? I'd probably be an Osaka person. I'd want to live in around the Kansai area, like Osaka, or like, yeah, I don't know. I like Osaka. Something about it is just very raw. I know it has like some slums, but the slums aren't even like that bad, to be honest. They're not really bad. They're the slums. Japanese slums are like a joke compared to US or Canadian slums. Have you seen American healthcare? Yeah, American healthcare is pretty bad too. At least from what I've heard though, it's at least if you have the money or if you have working benefits, it's relatively accessible. The way you talk about positive about Osaka makes me want to visit Osaka now. I don't know, like maybe for like people who don't speak the language, it might be a different experience for you, to be honest. Because Osaka is quite different from Tokyo. It's a lot more dirty in Osaka compared to Tokyo. It's still quite clean compared to Canada. But it's, say if you live in, if you think of like Tokyo, right? Tokyo is completely spotless for like miles. Not a single piece of trash in the entire city. Osaka is more unkempt, it's more dirty. It's part of their culture, and they have a more just general like laid back culture. And a lot of my friends happen to be from Osaka, and they're definitely like more open to conversation, friendly. Uh, Not being able to communicate is a totally different experience. It's because, like, for me, because I can speak Japanese, going to Osaka and talking to the people, I really liked their demeanor, in my opinion. They're like in Japan, it's known that like you don't talk on trains, but Osaka, everybody talks on trains. It's honestly even a little bit too loud for me. Made $600 in 2.5 hours. Should become a therapist. Lol. I don't know why people still want me to be a therapist, but thank you for the $6, $10, 10R. Thank you so much. Patch, patch, patch. Uh, Fukuoka is nice. In my opinion, I didn't like Fukuoka very much. Some parts of it are kind of nice, like it had some of the parks. But in my opinion, it reminded me too much of it reminded me too much of Toronto, and I don't like Toronto. There was also quite a few homeless people in Fukuoka. There's a lot of homeless people in Fukuoka. If you go to like I when I was in Japan, I tried to find like a single homeless person. All of the homeless people I found were in Fukuoka. You could see homeless encampments. To be fair, they're like nothing in comparison to the Canadian homeless issues, but they do exist in Fukuoka and like almost only Fukuoka. Doesn't Osaka also produce a lot of famous comedians in Japan? I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I saw more in Tokyo, to be honest. I didn't see any homeless people in Tokyo, but Tokyo's pretty big, to be fair. Why only Fukuoka? I don't know. I tried to look for homeless people in Japan because I was curious. Maybe I just don't know where to look, but I was only able to find homeless people in Fukuoka, and I found quite a lot of them. Like, well, maybe not compared to my Canadian perception of what's a lot of homeless people, it's not a lot of homeless people. It's like maybe one encampment and then like two other homeless people. But like where I live in Canada, there's encampments like under every single bridge. And there's homeless people on drugs like beside like a Dairy Queen or something. It's nothing compared to like other places I've seen. Like for example, when I went to Germany, I went to Dusseldorf. Dusseldorf has a lot of homeless people that are drugged up as well. Honestly, my opinion of Germany is that it's going to go down the same route as Canada. I went to Poland though. Poland is like, I think Poland is going up. Poland definitely is going places, in my opinion. People assume like Poland is like a shithole or something. Poland, in my opinion, I think Poland is going places. I would never move to Poland though because there's like it's literally only white people and they all stare at me. I remember when I went to Poland, I went to like get a Polish sausage at like a hot dog stand or a sausage stand. Literally every single person on the porch was just like staring right into my eyes. And they're like whispering at each other in like Polish about me. Who assumes that a lot of people assume that like ex-Soviet ex-Soviet nations are really like poor. And it's like yeah, Poland does have quite a few like poor people. Like they are quite poor in comparison to other parts of Europe, but they're on the rise. They're developing and they're making they're actively trying to make things better. Thank you for the $8. Oh, that's just euros being euros. Staring at strangers is an old German tradition as well. Thank you, Tyler Spin, for the $8. Yeah, when I was in Germany, they really stare at you. Like I was talking with this like Taiwanese girl in like Europe or not Europe, Germany, to see what's up with Germany. She's like, yeah, the food kind of sucks in Germany. Um, the people just stare at you. They're really judgmental and they're kind of like dismissive. And to be honest, when I was in Germany, yeah, I got the same experience, not gonna lie. Uh, Also, they cannot get their trains working properly. Akira Taifu, yay, I participated in some people that leave the US and are headed to Latin America, so uh, my Flee America places are LATAM or EMEA. What does that mean? I don't actually know what that means. Thank you for the $10 though. Patch, patch, patch. Thank you for the 300 MX. How can I make you? You are so interesting. I'd like to keep a healthy distance from people because I value my privacy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the money, but I value my privacy. I'm sorry. Your videos are inspiring me to get on my grind. Germans had probably never seen such a tall Asian girl. Probably not, to be honest. I felt like I was like when I was in Germany, I felt like I was in a walking attraction. When I was in the Netherlands, I didn't get like stared at very much, but that's just because they're used to foreigners in the Netherlands. But that's why for me, I don't think I could ever move to Europe. I don't think I could ever move to Europe because if I move to Europe, I just get stared at too much. It'd be very uncomfortable. Dutch people tall AF too. Yeah, that's true. They are very tall. How tall are you in centimeters? I'm 183 centimeters. Thank you for the MYR. Patch, Patch, thank you. Thank you so much. Patch, Patch, you are contributing to a good cause. Um, Geez, we're like really far into the donation goal now at this point. 電池切れた。電池切れか。うん、電池切れた。We good now. Welcome back. Good. Good night, Chung-san. Genki desu ka? You have 666 viewers, Lisa. Amazing number. My stream just keeps growing. The rich keep getting richer. That's just how it is. 電池切れた。言い方かわいい。可くないよ。怖いよ。恐ろしい。Time to draw. Your streams keep growing because the algorithm recommends pretty faces. I don't think that's just it. There's plenty of pretty people on the internet. If you like, legitimately, if you want to see something sad and realize that being pretty on the internet doesn't actually mean anything, go on Twitch and search up like ASMR ear licking stream and sort by least to most viewers. Legit though. Lol. Pain you, lol, same with VTubers. Have you ever, what is this music genre you tell us to look up? Search up like ASMR ear licking stream and then filter it by least to most viewers. And then you'll realize that being pretty on the internet doesn't actually mean much. Like, legitimately though, you don't believe how many attractive people there are on the internet who stream like softcore porn to like 2 people. Shamo, yo 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 yo. Domo. Domo, Shamo. Those girls get paid on other sites, enough said. I don't think you can get paid on other sites if you're streaming to 0 people. If nobody knows about you. Like, legit though. Well, you're one of them. I'm not doing an ear licking stream. I'm doing something more productive with my time. Complaining about my country. Man. Screw this country. Way more productive, yeah. I live in Canada and generally just want to know. Also want to see how it would compare to Japan and what it could get for most likely less. The general rule I found for Canada versus Japan when it comes to cost is that um, Japan, everything in Japan is half the price as Canada, but the quality is twice as high. Generally, maybe like the apartment sizes are smaller. Portion sizes are about the same as Canadian portion sizes, in my opinion, from a lot of the places I've been to. People say portion sizes are very small, but I think that only probably that is only a thing if you come from the US where everything's huge. Because the US has just like massive portion sizes. Like, Jesus. The US has crazy portion sizes, man. America number one. The US is getting better at not being fat, to be honest. I don't know. Not gonna lie, this is a very chill looking sweater she got. I want one. Yeah, portions in Japan are much smaller from what I've seen. Like, from me going to Japan, the portion sizes aren't that, like, different from Canadian portion sizes. They're about the same. Canadian portion sizes for restaurants are quite small. So, maybe that's why. But if you're American and you're used to big portion sizes, Japan's gonna be quite a bit smaller for you. We just need to stop buying fast food, slop, and America wouldn't be so fat, honestly. Ramen sizes are huge in Japan. It really, like, the portion sizes in Japan really depends on which restaurant you go to. Because you can get really large portion sizes in Japan if you know where to go. When I was in Japan, like, you can go to, like, in, like, some, like, really small nook, like, shop. And they sometimes, especially the Chinese, like the chuka ryori, like the Chinese shops, they give you really big portion sizes if you want those. It's quite good. また日本に来る予定ありますか？最近チャンネル登録しました。Yes, I do have plans to come to Japan again this December. You just get seconds. It's like the stuff is tipping a thing in Canada too? Yes, it is. Um, but yeah, in Japan, it's like the food's quite cheap too. Like you can afford to eat out every day if you wanted to. Also, food is much cheaper there, especially since the yen is going down. You can live as low as like $10 to $15 a day. Personally, it would be like uh, $20 to $30 a day for me. I were to go out every day. Is it because you eat a lot? Um, but yeah, in Japan, like the food is relatively cheap, like very cheap. Uh, the salaries is the salaries you make in Japan are very similar to Canada, although their minimum wage is like lower than Canada. Um, but their average wage is around $50,000 Canadian. Average Canadian makes 60,000, which isn't much more, but everything's twice as expensive. I need to go to the US and see how bad the food is compared to Japan. Honestly, some places in the US do have good food. It's like really greasy though, most of the food. You go into the convenience stores, the food is like not very good in America. And also, it's like that's also why I do like I only home cook. I don't eat out very much. Bye bye, fellas. I'm gonna sleep. Oh yeah, it's getting pretty late here now. We're 54% of the way. Bro, you're still alive? I'm busy talking, okay? Let me talk. Ugh. The minimum cost of reasonable living in Japan is so much lower in Japan. Yeah, like living reasonably in Japan is so much like the barrier to entry is so low. Um, I remember it was like I was seeing some like news broadcasts of like a uh, I was seeing news broadcasts in Japan. Sometimes I like to look at like Japanese politics, and there is an inflation issue in Japan. Uh, for a long time now, Japan's has been trying to stimulate inflation in the economy. But the problem is that the yen's been stagnant, like hasn't been inflating for so long because people are so used to prices being a certain way. So they try to stimulate inflation for like 10 years now. Never worked. Now Japan's finally starting to get some inflation. It's a little bit more than they expected it to be. So they are having a little bit of inflation issues that they're not used to. Still nothing compared to like Canada though, to be fair. Wages there are really low compared to America, yes, but they're actually not that low, like worldwide. They're pretty like average, or even well, they're above average wages. It's just Americans will think they're low because Americans make so much money. Uh, and it's like, what else? What was I saying? Yeah, there was like inflation issues in Japan, and I was watching like the Japanese news, and they're interviewing some people on what they do to combat like the inflation. Some people are saying they're cutting like meats out of their diet, or like the they're ask what they were doing is they were asking people who are in school, like students in school, what they were doing to combat the inflation. And they're like, "Oh, I stopped eating fish, or I've cut down costs by like trying to eat mostly vegetables, not eating meat and stuff." And they're just like as a college student. I was like, man, if this were Canada, you wouldn't even be able to like go to college and move out. You wouldn't be living on your own. It's like, yeah, I found it kind of funny because for a Japanese perspective, when they think of inflation, they're not used to inflation. So when there's any inflation, they they assume it's a lot. But also, I know that Japan is very isolated in like their information. They don't really know a whole lot about what's going on around the world. and most they know about the West is just America, and the inflation. They assume that the inflation issue is just a Japanese thing, but it's a world thing. Uh, and the only exception is like America. America is literally the only exception, but a lot of people in Japan assume that like the only country they think about other than Japan is like America. Large-scale purchase of the U.S. debt could lead to depreciation of the yen, as increased demand for the U.S. dollars to buy debt and drive up values of the dollar relative to the yen. Yeah, like as the world goes into depression, because like the U.S. has been so hegemonic for such a long time, very likely in the future, people are gonna start to rely on the U.S. dollar a lot more. That's what I think is gonna happen. I don't know. I don't have an educated opinion, but it's like I feel like that is the case, and the U.S. kind of knows it. U.S. is an exception. Do you know how that like the U.S. is probably one of the only economies like that have like increased GDP like an exceptional amount since the COVID pandemic? Most other countries are starting to go into a recession now. The US is still growing its economy magically somehow. I mean, they're printing insane money but by doing it, but their economy is in fact growing from the pandemic, which is the exception compared to other countries. Lisa, do not go to. Lisa, sorry to advise you not to talk about Japanese gamings like Abe-san or Yaji Senpai in Japan like the last stream, or you'll lose your position as a lady. I swear. um, yeah, I know that. I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't talk about it for people that I want to see regularly, but. Don't worry. I'm not. I know exactly what I'm doing. I can read the room. I'm just It's just for jokes on the stream. It's for entertainment. The American inflation bubble will pop soon. It's like if you're not from America or you know about more about what's going outside of your little country bubble here, you are the exception. America's doing really great compared to a lot of other countries, believe it or not. Even with a lot of its issues, you are still making money from other people's recessions. And it's like kind of insane. As a Japanese local, we think Canada is a nice and safe country with cold weather. Most Japanese people that come to Canada end up moving back to Japan. I've met like a lot of Japanese people in Toronto with just like language exchange and stuff. And I asked their opinions about Canada and stuff. And they always end up moving back to Japan in like a year. Almost always. Very few of them actually stay in Canada. Very few. None of them want to stay because they realize it's too expensive, it's too dangerous, and they realize Japan's better. Like 95% of the time, that is the case. Even like that 5%, usually they change their mind in a year. So it's usually like more like 99% of people. America in here, we are doing not doing as good as you might think in general. I'm not saying America is doing well. I'm not saying the average American is doing well. I'm just saying it's like one of the only economies in the world that are actually growing in GDP since the pandemic. Elisa making up stats, you love to see it. I honestly don't even care at checking anymore because it's just kind of like a pointless game to play. Uh, I used to live in Toronto, and yes, I know Canada to some degree. Yeah, every Japanese in Canada is just for study, not for immigration. Yeah, very few of them actually stay here. Didn't Canada spend insane money during the pandemic? Yes, they did. Isn't GDP a bad measure though? Yeah, it's not a great measure, but it is a measure. I'm just saying America is quite the exception when it comes to like like how well countries are dealing with the pandemic. It's like how they magically keep doing it, I don't know. That's like it's literally just because they're hegemonic. I think that's they're too big to lose. I think that's the thing, and it's like as the a lot of economies are starting to collapse now. They're starting to rely a little bit more and trust on America because they're the only economy that seems it's perceived to be working. So that might be why the actual people are putting a lot more trust into America's currency. As other currencies decrease in value, America's currency in comparison actually increases in value. It's like also I'm not like I'm not super educated on like this opinion though, but it's just like I'm kind of jazzing it up here with like what I'm talking about. So take it with a grain of salt. To be fair, I just think that constantly looking up like statistics and facts is like missing the big picture. So I might not be getting facts completely correct here, but a lot of these are just mainly based around the big picture kind of stuff. It's an illusion. Yeah, yeah. America's economy is kind of an illusion, to be honest. It's like I think half of the GDP is actually just Wall Street. So I heard something like that. Okay, I checked the temperature of the meat. Somebody donate? No, someone didn't donate. Well, because everybody still relies on American dollar, which is what. Yeah, a lot of countries use American dollar to trade. That's why. It's like America is still doing well because America's dollar is seen as like the default currency, right? Mm. You seem drunk every day despite not drinking. It's because I'm autistic. It's literally, I cannot. Like, drinking never affects me because I always act drunk. I guess. I guess. Uh, if you want accurate news, go to an actual news source. This is just a 20 something year old giving an opinion. A person's opinion should always be taken with a grain of salt. Uh, yeah, I mean, I just take. There's so many conflicting things with news sources, anyways. And I also know that constantly bringing up facts with people and playing that game is just a losing battle. Because I have dealt with those kinds of people throughout my entire life. And I know it doesn't go anywhere. So I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna say, take my opinion with a grain of salt. And I don't care if you take it seriously or not. I'm just gonna say it. Isn't Canada like a top country to immigrate in? I mean, it's uh the probably one of the it's one of the top countries that are taking immigrants, but I don't think they're necessarily a good country to immigrate to. How did you get so popular on YouTube in such a short amount of time? It's because uh I'm just real. I'm real. I'm a real person and people seem to like that. I also understand how people on the internet work, so I also do a lot of research. I do like a shit ton of. It seems like I might just be like sitting pretty, like sitting pretty on the internet, like because I'm attractive, I get views. You don't, you don't actually see the amount of work that goes into this stuff. Are you big on spreadsheets too, like using Excel? No, I'm not like formal. I'm kind of schizo when it comes to my research, but it seems to work. You don't you don't believe how much research I've had to do just to come to the conclusion that I had to just be real on the internet. Like it seems like it's easy. It seems like I'm just like uh I'm just getting views because I'm pretty or whatever. No, I actually really autistically analyze videos like till the like second. Um, and then I came to the conclusion that none of it matters. That's what I concluded. None of it matters. So what I just started doing is most I did was I just post every other day, and then I make a long video, and I just be real. That's all I do. It's nothing special. I went through countless hours of research to realize that none of it matters. That's basically that's basically what I did. It is what it is. Being real and genuine really helps. Yeah, it's like, yeah. I don't know. Recently, I've been kind of like refraining from like talking about like politics and stuff from like stream or just like videos in general or whatever because I feel like people wouldn't understand it, or a lot of people are watching videos like out of context as well. For example, it's like they just don't know me, so they just make assumptions. They watch, like for most people, you can expect they watch like 5 seconds, they make an assumption, and then they click off, and then the assumption just carries on throughout their life, And that's just inherently how the internet works. And that's just how things work. And to be fair, honest, I just don't care. I just stopped giving a shit. Like, it just doesn't matter. Literally nothing matters. I'm here because the real and your comedy. You just have to start doing it and have confidence. Yeah, unironically. That's why you're famous, because you realize nothing matters. Yeah, it's literally my thing. Like, see this? I don't wear makeup. Like, I only have one video in my shorts where I wear makeup. It's literally the Copic versus the ball pen, and that was me just like experimenting whether makeup actually matters. I concluded that it doesn't matter. So, like, no makeup. I don't wear makeup. I don't wear makeup at all. I don't wear makeup. I don't comb my hair. I don't like do anything. I don't even cut my bangs. I don't shower every day. I don't even try. And it's like, well, that's just yeah. What matters is if you're selling a the only thing that matters is you're selling a image. And if you're consistent with the image, it doesn't matter what the image is as long as it's marketable or sellable. If it's a consistent, well thought out image of yourself, that's a marketable. It doesn't matter what the image is. It's just if there's people who think can like project themselves onto it. This is in fact the most powerful stream. I mean, looks don't matter that much, to be honest. Most prefer people prefer the entertain. What would you do? Practice good hygiene at least. I just brush my teeth and I floss sometimes. Is being a cranky dude marketable? Yes. If you can sell it well, it can be marketable. If you really push the whole cranky dude thing and you're really consistent with it and you exaggerate the features of it, it's an art form. It's like that's marketable. That will get you a lot of views. I mean, Uncle Roger, right? You see Uncle Roger? He's just a cranky Asian dude. That's like his whole character. He has 6 million subscribers. I think like 8 million subscribers now actually. He's gone viral like crazy. He's just really good at marketing his like thing, which is being a cranky Asian guy. 6 million fuyo. If an e-girl streams every day with makeup and then suddenly stops, she's ugly to people. Yeah. Does a colorful hoodie help? For my case, yeah, because it's like kind of like my style. I don't know. What advice would you give to someone not wanting to go into YouTube but wanting to be a social media artist? It's really difficult to make it as a social media artist because you're competing with everything. You're not just competing with other artists on the platform, you're competing with everyone on the platform. And I think that's an inherent issue with like social media, that it groups everything into like one. I wish that would be like fixed, or there was like a solution to that. But I recommend, if you want to be good artists on social media, you have to understand how algorithms are like, not even algorithms, not algorithms, how viewer habits work and how psychology works. If you know human psychology very well and human habits very well, you can easily do well on a platform. It's just a matter of learning it. It just takes so long to actually learn it though. Can Auntie Elisa make egg fried rice? Also, you can do it, just find a corner. The issue with that is that if you find a corner, you're not going to grow very big. You need to inherently be more mainstream if you want to grow bigger. Unless you don't want to make a lot of money, which I do. I would like to make a lot of money. Elisa made me really happy that you like Jack Stauber. I'm like a huge fan of Jack Stauber's work. You also speak naturally to the camera and act naturally. Do you also blame that for the success? It definitely helps to be like very articulate. I mean, like I have a lot of like really kind of schizophrenic kind of like thoughts in my brain that it's hard to explain to people. But if you try to practice how to like articulate it well, you can at least convince some people. You're not going to convince everybody because there's inherently some people that are just not going to get your point. But your point doesn't need to appeal to everybody, you know? You don't need to appeal to everybody all the time. You would like to make a lot of money in 3 hours, so here's some money. Thank you so much for the 10R. Thank you. Fetch, 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 fetch. Man, you really got this stuff down to the science. Respect. Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like it's easy, right? People think it's easy to just be pretty on the internet and talk to a camera. It's a lot of effort to make something seem easy. Is your goal to get as big as possible? Yes. You know what my goal is? Crash the real estate market. That is my goal, and that is my life goal. I don't know what happened to my earlier donation. Thank you, bamboozle me not to for the $5. Thank you so much. I only need, so I have no money. I mean, if you have no money, you shouldn't be donating. You probably need that more than me, to be honest. But thank you for the donation anyway. Fetch, 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 fetch. Isn't Uncle Roger also a chef? I feel like best content producers have some level of expertise in something besides being a YouTuber. Yes, this is true. Because being good at something else other than YouTube makes you harder to replace. The more difficult you are to replace, the more successful you could be. Because as you're growing, there's going to be a lot of people trying to compete with you in the same field. If you're too easy to replace, say, like if you're a gaming YouTuber, you're a Minecraft YouTuber, there's a million other Minecraft YouTubers. It's really tough to compete in that field because anybody can play Minecraft, and that's the issue. You have to do something that nobody else can do, and that makes you more successful in the long run. Like for me, I'm really good at art. Like I'm a talented artist, and I have a pretty face, which I think the pretty face is somewhat superficial. You're right, of course. Stop donating me to me then. You should keep the money for yourself. Yeah, filthy meat. But like it makes it easier to compete with people and hard to be competed with when when you have skills other than YouTube. Like it's not like YouTube used to be in like 2010 where your whole persona could be that you're a YouTuber. That's not how it works anymore. You can't just be a YouTuber. You have to be this or that. And then that also happens to do YouTube. I was wondering, are you on the spectrum? I just started turning into your live draw sessions. I'm late diagnosed with ASD adult. Kind of getting that vibe from you. So, if so, when did you know? Yes, I am diagnosed with autism, and I've been diagnosed for a very long time. I am like, I've been diagnosed with autism since I was like 7. I think 7 years old. No, maybe no. I think later than like 8 or 9 years old. Probably 8 or 9 years old, I've been diagnosed with autism. I love how self-aware you are. What's harder, competing with everyone on a platform or stay relevant? Uh, I mean, those things are just like the same thing, aren't they? The more competition you have on a platform, the harder it is to stay relevant. So you just got to make it more difficult to be competed with, either by having more money, having more skills, uh, being more articulate, just having something that's better than someone else's thing. You can't just be a YouTuber, and that can't just be your thing anymore. This isn't 2010 YouTube. You can't just be like a Casey Neistat of YouTube, where Casey Neistat's thing is that he's just a person that makes good YouTube videos, and that's his whole thing. That doesn't work anymore, because there's already so many other people that have a YouTuber persona. You're just inherently competing with so many people. I mean, this is the nicest way you're pretty, but it's more about an invitation no longer not to call yourself pretty to the audience in the pretty to the audience so often. Well, I can ignore the facts that I'm pretty, I guess, but it's rubbed in my face so much. You you wouldn't believe how self-conscious I was about the way I looked when I was like a young teenager or like a young kid. I've always been really self-conscious about the way I looked, and I never thought I was very attractive. Actually, was the funny thing. I never considered myself very attractive before. Um, but as I grown into like an adult and I talk to people more, it's now at this point it's constantly there, and people actually even hate me for it, or it's like they despise me because I'm more attractive. It's like I'm not trying to be more. It's like I'm just born this way. Okay, I used to think I wasn't even attractive, but it's just it's constantly mentioned. It's constantly in my face. On the internet, people are constantly just talking about how I only got my way because I'm attractive, or I only get this or that because I'm attractive, or whatever, right? It's constantly shoved in my face. It's hard to deny that it's like reality. It's like it doesn't really matter, but people still treats me like it matters, right? It's like it shouldn't matter. It's very superficial. Maybe I'm only thinking it's superficial because I don't realize myself like how beneficial it was to me, because I never lived as an unattractive person. I've lived with really low self-confidence about my looks, but I never lived as technically an unattractive person. So maybe I could just be taking it for granted, to be fair, from just like my perspective, but like um I don't know. You're pretty, so why not leverage it? At this point, I kind of do. I kind of don't, but kind of do. It's just if I leverage it too much, then it doesn't benefit my like my look, my thing. I'm trying to be a neat, right? If I try too hard, it's gonna work against me, because it doesn't sell the idea of like being a neat very well, right? Yeah, life is really hard when your face looks like it was hit by a shovel. Uh, yeah, I'm sure it is. It's just I don't know. You're something else though. Everyone is so drawn towards you. Excuse me. Being pretty probably accounts for less than 0.1% of your viewers. Let's be honest. You have way more to offer than that. I guess that's true. Wait, you're not a neat. I am a neat. I guess depends on what your definition of neat is. I guess I would be in the self-employed technically, but some people wouldn't consider like self-employment as employment. It's hard to balance being humble and confident. Yeah, that's true. Cause it's like it gets shoved in my face the way I look so often, and it matters so much to people. I personally don't think it matters that much, but other people really, they keep telling me so much about it, right? It's like maybe I'm just taking it for granted, right? Maybe I do just have a silver spoon in my mouth or whatever, and I'm just taking my looks for granted. And I really should realize what it's like to live as an ugly person. But I also have had like really bad self-esteem about the way I looked. The roast still isn't done yet. Still needs some more time. There you go. This is true. Is it mainly online or in person too? It's online and in person. Life sucks anyways. Just me, a former NEET trying to be a careerist and not working out. It's really hard out there, to be honest. It's like actually like near impossible. It's still possible though. You just have to be very smart. And the thing is that inherently, not everybody is smart, and that's fine. Not everybody should be smart. Um, but if you're not very smart and you want to be make it out of this, like your situation, I recommend you try to associate yourself with smart people that can help you out, and have some value that helps them, as so that their value can also help you. It's like if you yourself cannot be smart enough to figure out your own situation, at least you can help someone who is smart enough to help you out, you know? As a dumb person, this is reassuring. Like, for example, autistic people, they can be very intelligent, but they also have really bad social skills. Um, they pair well with someone who has good social skills and understanding. Maybe not the most intelligent, but good enough people skills that they actually make up for the faults of the autistic, like intelligent autistic person, which does happen a lot in school actually. But if you can, give value to them in some way, well, you make up for each other's mistakes, and I guess that's the inherent like thing with like relationships, right? People need to work together and be helpful with each other if they want to succeed. You can't just make it on your own. It's not like super individualist where it's just like girl boss, go get him, get that bag queen, I don't know. And just like, no, I think that's going the hyper individualist route is just the wrong way to go about it. Did you go to post secondary? No, I didn't. I dropped out of high school. Is there a dating site for balanced friends? No, no, there isn't. I don't think so. Maybe if you go to like personality types. Where did you learn all about human behavior? It's literally just personal anecdote. It's just things I notice. Like a lot of like almost everything I say is anecdotal. There's some statistical things that I do see, but most of it is statistics mixed with anecdote, because I feel like statistics doesn't show the whole picture. I don't care if people agree with me. I know that fighting over statistics is a losing battle and people are just going to keep arguing it anyways. I don't care if I'm technically wrong on the statistics. I just want to see the bigger picture. Because fighting over small details with statistics, it's really pointless. It's stupid. It can promote a lot of irrational logic. Even though it claims to be very rational, it's actually probably more irrational than anything. Weirdly enough, right? Do you read books? I read some books. I mostly just look on the internet. Why did you drop out? Major depression, really bad depression. Statistics are biased anyways. That's very Buddhist. I guess so. I mean, I am a Buddhist and I was raised a Buddhist, so I inherently just have Buddhist thinking. It's I don't care if I'm wrong. It's fine if I'm wrong. I don't need to be perfect. My art, I realize you don't need to be perfect with your art either. I'm an artist and a Buddhist, and I've always been that way. And I'm pretty keen on staying that way. Statistics can be useful. It's just too easy to lie with numbers and add authority automatically. Yeah, I don't fully trust statistics. I give them a grain of salt. They could be right, they could be wrong sometimes. But I mix both personal anecdote with statistics, and it seems to usually be correct. Same goes with the way I research YouTube. YouTube and other things, like Shopify or whatever, when I run my store, it seems to work, so I keep doing it. Whenever you focus too much on statistics, I notice it happens to work in very controlled cases. But if you mix the statistics with anecdote, then you get the bigger picture, and it seems to work a lot better, more naturally. Have you hydrated? I ran out of water. I have same thing. Take care, Lisa. お大事にしようぜ。応援してるよ。お疲れ様。小林健太郎。見てくれてありがとうございます。Were you crying? 後ろの絵好きだよ。後ろの絵。that one, right? まがまがしい絵。まがまがしい絵。Are you self-taught in art? Yes, I am. I never went to school in art. Like this for example. This artwork was when I was 16 years old, and I was going to start my gallery artist career when I was 16, and then this was supposed to be one of the works I was going to put up in a gallery. The problem that happened was I became really depressed and suicidal. Thank you for the 125 thing. Man Carrying Thing is one of the best growing YouTubers right now. I'm not sent by him. I never heard of him, but maybe I can check him out to see what's up. But yeah, this is supposed to be kind of ominous. It's maga magashi. Yeah, it's like a fisheye, kind of ominous. It's just an underpainting. I never actually finished it because I was extremely depressed at the time. You can kind of tell maybe that I was really depressed. まぐまぐしい。よくそんな言葉知ってるな。笑う。知ってるよ。I know a lot of vocabulary. I'm just like really rusty, so a lot of it's not coming to me. I am sorry. I will make sure I hone my skills in Japan. As a non-artist, how do I read art and enjoy it? Just consume it. Just like look at art and try to find something out of it, and eventually you might. It does give me a feeling of impending doom, like someone is coming for me. Reminds me of the Children of the Corn going on a Mormon mission. I mean, the kid in it is supposed to be a Mormon, like a Mormon kid. What mediums can you use? I can use pretty much any medium. I do have experience with most mediums, like oil paints, acrylic paints, watercolors. Art is hard. I gave up after struggling with stick figures. Elisa drew a Mormon. Very cool, Lisa. Art is hard. I mean, you just gotta keep trying and be consistent with it. I think that's the most important part. What inspired you to become a talented illustrator? It's literally just cause I drew a lot as a child and I kept drawing and I was really good at it and it helped me make a lot of friends, so I just kept doing it. You captured the feeling in art so well. Really impressed with the fisheye perspective. Thank you. Are you ever scared of getting recognized in public? とてもいい絵だよ. Munch's later paintings have such a finish とても好き. Good art. Cool. Thank you, Kobayashi. Are you scared of being recognized in public? For me, getting recognized in public, I'm not really afraid of. It's more just like people being creeps. I don't like people trying to dox me or trying to like find my address or something, or trying to find information about me that I don't want people to know. It's very creepy, and people who do it should stop. It's not cool. I know you're curious, but it's not cool. It's not funny to dox people. Yeah, it's just you shouldn't, don't dox people. What advice would you give yourself when you were a teen? Well, the advice I would give myself if I was a teen is literally the stuff I put in my YouTube videos. Did you watch Undead Unlock? No, I haven't. It's getting kind of late now and my throat kind of hurts. I'm starting to calm down from my rant about stuff, like about Canada again. My famous Canadian rants. But I should go to bed now and I'm pretty tired. So thank you everybody for watching my stream. Sorry, I was like really riled up there. Please take my opinions with a grain of salt. A lot of it is anecdote, some is statistics. Some statistics, some anecdote. Please take it with a grain of salt and do your own research as well to come to your own conclusion. But yes, And don't take what I say out of context, please. All right. Goodbye.